does. All right, I'm ready.
Yeah, well, they were given that money.
Okay.
Hi, Peggy. Hi, Bill. We see you. I see you.
Given it, right?
We'll call the,
They just had poor
excuse me,
bookkeeping.
Marty,
Marty, you're late.
you're late.
I'm so disappointed.
Call the meeting to order, Thursday, May 14th, meeting of the Pelican Preserve Advisory Committee. I'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Was Peggy standing?
Let's do the roll call. We can start with our newest member, Doug.
I'm here. John Barry, here.
Ed Hedges.
Shaner.
Patricia Zimmerman.
Marty Mantonfeld, present.
Hey, Laura Leroy. Patricia, can you slide your microphone over so it points towards you a little more there? Thanks.
I'd like to make a motion to have Peggy Hall participate remotely due to extraordinary circumstances.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Everybody seconded it.
Yeah.
We'll give credit to John.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Peggy, you're officially part of this meeting.
I muted you, Peggy. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Public comments.
I have one from Sherry Schiller regarding agenda item G. Just a reminder, when you get up here, please state your name for the record, and then I'm going to move this. And then I'll give you 3 minutes. So do that.
Sherry Schiller, Camarel. I'm here today to speak on item for discussion G, purchasing authority of the Pelican Preserve Advisory Committee and subcommittee chairpersons. I feel when it comes to money in a neighborhood that people are neighbors and subjected to their neighbors if they don't vote for things their neighbors might want and they want to be friends with everybody, that it's a good idea that if we have the Pelican Preserve Advisory Committee, which is the body here, make some of the monetary decisions without sending the $10,000 authority to the subcommittees, it would be fiscally a better idea, both for the people that live in their neighborhood and easier for them to say, no, you can't have that. And also keep things much more in-house with this committee. That's just my personal feeling. I think the more you subcommittee in a volunteer neighborhood where people are volunteering to be on committees, and I can tell you, having been to just about every meeting and committee meeting, I have seen more than one time someone comes to the committee, gets on the committee, and has an agenda item that they want. And they push it through, and it costs thousands of dollars. And then, without the due diligence, a month later, some other members of the community come forward and say, well, wait a minute, you doing this has interfered with my existence here. And then there we are. We've spent all this money a month later, and I'll give you one example. I don't know these people. Cypress Grove, the flashing, flaring lights that were shining into somebody across, and once they put those up, it caused quite a bit of upset within people in the community at a different spot. And you might not be aware of that if you don't go to all the meetings. So that's my most recent example. I don't know what that sign and those lights cost, but they were recently changed because there was so much brouhaha. So I don't live there, by the way. What?
About $4,000.
Thank you, $4,000. And I would just like to say, we can't do that. We don't have that much extra money laying around. We've got lots of important infrastructure things to do, and my 3 minutes are done, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you.
right, that's the only one I had.
Okay. Approval of minutes. Do we have
Make a motion to approve items 5 Alpha and 5 Bravo.
Marty made the motion, Tom seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Approval?
Yep.
Financial report?
Where were my 5? Wait, actually, I'm gonna do this. Share this one, because I got it. Maybe. My mouse is not cooperating, sorry. So these are hot off the press. I got the financials late Tuesday, I think. So this is actually as of April. So this is not the same version that's in your agenda packet. You have March or February and March because they didn't get done for your April meeting because I was on PTO. So that's why you have both of those versions in there. But this will be in next month's agenda packet since we're normally like a month behind. But this is where we're sitting right now. So you guys have, you're sitting very well. You're doing fine. Your cash is good. Your expenses are right on target. I have no concerns. We've been combing over these, made the budget amendment adjustments. We're done. This one where the budget amendments were done. So we'll be making some transfers of some of the reserve accounts and stuff. That kind of all happens in the background to cover what we need for the expenses coming up for this year. So
Or when are the building constructions going to hit?
they have been hitting. You're going to see that. I was working on that before I came in here. So that's what I'm saying. That'll show up next. That'll show up in the May financials. So I was talking to our accountant about that. We were just reviewing all the numbers. That's what I was working on literally right before I walked in the room. So that'll show shortly.
Does that still appear to be on budget
Yeah.
for this? We're
Yep.
not-
Yep.
okay. Revised budget.
Well, yeah, this budget, what you're looking at, yes.
Real quick, anything remaining under 40% is kind of, I won't say in danger, but a chance of going over budget.
Not necessarily because a lot of times when the stuff happens, it's front loaded. It's a lot of the projects are done early in the budget year and then they taper off as the year goes in. So I don't really, there's nothing in here that like the 15% remaining. Landscape, they're doing a lot of stuff, but it may be one particular category if I go down into their budget, but I mean, there's nothing in here that I'm concerned about. It's a lot of times it's really front loaded for expenses because it's like New Year and we're like, woo, we have money and everybody spends and then it sort of tapers off as the year goes on.
And I'm looking
So-
at administration, will it go over? And it's not going to be a lot of dollars, I just want to know if it's likely to go over.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And not at this point. I mean, we do keep an eye on all of that. So, yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. So like, here's, what do we got here? This is for security. My biggest concern with safety and security, they are going to have to make some adjustments is because they did not have the speed monitoring devices line in their budget and they're already sitting at $30,000 of unplanned spend for this year. So that's going to have to give from someplace. But we'll worry about that when it gets closer. So.
Yeah, we've still got the unassigned reserves too, so.
Oh, yeah, you have plenty of reserves to cover the overages. That's not a problem, but I'm thinking that's a big one now that
Well, and the other one is the street lights that was the 108,000 or whatever that was supposed to have been spent last year that got spent this year on the removal of the old lights.
right.
There has to be adjustment for that as well.
Yep, that needs to get pulled in. Yep, because that'll affect this line here.
Yep.
So. Let's see, this is landscape. They still have quite a bit. But this will come in the new year, so like the holiday lighting, that won't be that's done for this year, that we won't have those expenses until next year. Irrigation's looking pretty good. They're doing their monuments. The landscape replacement has a bunch of money left in it. So they're really the only one that's over budget right now is this R&M other. So.
And they have a lot of reserves.
They do. They have a lot of reserves. They historically carry forward around $200,000 a year. So.
And so all the from the audits completed, so the subcommittees carry forwards or reserves are reflected with last year's carry forwards.
Yes.
And then I haven't updated it for this month, but last month when I did it, the PPAC unassigned carry forward is about 650,000 or so. That's in.
It sounds right.
And we're doing quite a bit of investing, like I think I mentioned that last month for you guys. Every month we're putting T-bills in. They're like 6-month T-bills. And that way, if the need should arise that we need the money, we would just lose the interest that they earned. We can cash them in if you need them right away. We're doing the same.
What, $900,000 for the admin?
Yeah, that won't come out of there. That's coming out of a different place. So we already set aside for that. But for the extra money that you had after all of that was allocated, we're still investing money on the back end and they're rolling. So we're doing ladders so that like every 6 months, you know, they're getting reinvested. But we chose T-bills, well, because the interest rates were very good. And if we need the money, they're very easy to cash in and get the money. So this, we would just lose the interest on them. But if there was a need for cash, they're right there. We're doing the same with utilities or the enterprise fund and the general fund as well. They're all getting invested in T-bills.
You know what the encumbered is during pump bank improvements?
A lot
That's
of
a
them, I
pretty
haven't
good-
gotten a lot of, I only got one bill, I think, so far from them. So that's the rest of it.
Well, I'm thinking about the new stuff that they're doing. Is this from the?
This is 43.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got
There's
you.
there's nothing, because we haven't done anything with the new one yet. So, but
It's
I
not
haven't,
even bid yet.
no. And I've only gotten one invoice from them so far, which is that 120,000. So they haven't even invoiced us out. So that.
Okay.
Move on to the subcommittee updates.
Motion to receive the financials, do we?
No, you don't need to. Difficult. This will be fun. Oh, that's because I'm on the wrong page. I'm like, why are my bookmarks not working? Because I was in the single one. All right. This mouse is. I do need to, under my report, we need to have some discussion about the tree trimming. I have 2 items.
Member items.
I think I would add just, there was a lot of compliment to Marty from Mark Eversman about Marty's promise to go ahead with some of the projects he was working on. So he was very great. We're having that $10,000.
It's not official yet.
Approval authority.
Yeah,
I
it's
know,
not official
I know,
yet.
I know, but I'm just.
Yeah, no, I
So
have some background I have some additional information that I'd like to help fill in with that as well when we get there. So that's it for landscape.
So good to feel appreciated.
So different.
Safety and security. For those of you that may not know, I am back with safety and security again, so I'll be over there running the meetings going forward. Paula's doing landscape and ponds, and I'm taking safety and security. Since I've been working with them on pretty much everything anyway, it was easier for me to step in. Paul and I are still working together on everything, so I keep in touch with him as far as he's doing the actual project execution stuff, and I'm taking more of the administrative side of it. So you guys got me, and they got me. So they've been pretty
Anybody
busy.
speak to tree trimming? I have a question that
I-
there were,
We can talk about it now, otherwise I was gonna bring it up under my staff items, because I do have some things I need to talk about. So it's up to you, we can either do it now or
I was going to
later.
bring it up under member items.
Yeah, so it's gonna get talked about at some point, so.
Do it now?
It's your meeting, so if you wanna do it now, we can do it now.
I just have a question about 2 trees that are at the entrance of the preserve on Pelican Preserve Boulevard that they have green tape around them, and they're fairly old growth. Is that the green tape, does that mean they're going to be taken down?
The, the green was basically trimmed. They're going to be trimmed for, I guess we could,
We can just talk
Talk
about it,
about
it's
the whole
fine,
thing now?
yeah, it's fine,
So they're not
yeah.
going to be taken down? I'm good.
no trees are to be removed from the street lighting project. But part of the update here, the street light have all been installed, all removed, they're all functioning. The last part is to do the the tree trimming associated with them and sod replacement, and some miscellaneous electrical decommissioning. There was an issue with the sod quantities, but some of that's being put off until hopefully we start getting some rain in the rainy season. The tree trimming, and part of this is the safety and security assumed we would be paying for these because it's part of the lighting project. But Chelsea wanted those to go through landscaping because they affected landscaping. So whose budget pays for it doesn't really matter. The tree trimming, Jay and I went out and identified about 80 trees that needed to be, we felt needed to be trimmed due to the lighting. And I'd worked with FPL lighting designers and reviewing all this, and what they, the lights basically shine out, from the light, and the intensity of the light decreases as you go out. And when they do their design, they have a point of about 50% illumination. And so they basically set them side by side so that the 50% illumination touch or slightly overlap. So basically at that area, it's supposed to be illuminated 50% from the adjacent lights, so that you have fairly uniform lighting. And we had, from safety and security, they had gotten complaints or questions about the lighting of the roadway and sidewalks from a safety perspective. So we identified about 80 trees that needed some trimming. Some needed a lot, like those right outside the preserve. And then some just needed minor trimming. So and we had asked Paul, when the landscaping did their hardwood trim, had asked Ameriscape to trim all the trees for the new light locations. Well, they didn't really do that. They trimmed right where the pole was to allow Florida Power and Light to install the pole, but they didn't do it for the lighting. So the landscape committee, and the people in the landscape committee had gotten complaints about shade, losing shade. And one of the individuals on the committee was very adamant that we didn't need to trim as many trees as we needed to. And she maintained that they only shined about 75 feet. So anyway, I went out and re-looked at things in the middle of the night and removed about 10% of them, trying to accommodate. And then when they came back, they identified a whole bunch of them that they questioned, and it just got into a back and forth, Paul in between. And I said, fine, use your little red or yellow on the stakes as to instruct the tree trimming crew that those were probably minimal trims rather than major trims. But anyway, they went through and came up with reduced it to about 40 trees that needed trimming. And
There's no ranges? There's no ranges in the amount of trimming?
Well, when you reduce it that much, then most of the trees are major trim. So then they asked the contractor to re-quote his price. Well, it reduced it somewhat, but not the magnitude that they thought it should reduce, because you had an average price of major trim and minor trim, so the average cost per tree was lower. When you reduced it to 40 and they were all major trims, the cost per tree is more. So anyway, we're at this, safety and security thinks we need more. I actually went out the other night at about 11 o'clock at night when it was totally dark, and measured and marked where I could still see a shadow from the light. and then went out with a wheel and measured it the next day, and it was, you still get a shadow at 100 feet. It's, you know, it's not an intense shadow, but you're still getting some illumination at 100 feet from the pole. And at 110 feet, you're basically not getting any shadow. So somewhere around 100 feet is how far it actually broadcasts, rather than 75. But we just got into this pulse out between the two subcommittees, and they basically ask PPAC, I guess, to adjudicate.
That's what I'm here for. That's why it's on my list. Yep. So basically, what you had talked about the difference in price, it went from when you had more trees, it was an average about $155 a tree. And then when they reduced it, it went up to about $200 a tree. So it didn't get it down much. It took it from like $12,400 down to $10,400. It reduced it by like $2,000. So Ed's absolutely correct. There is a lot of back and forth. And not just Paul, I mean, we're all, staff is kind of stuck in the middle of it. Safety and security wants one thing, landscape wants something else. You guys were out there looking at them and have a different recommendation. So I guess from a staff perspective, and because you're PPAC, we're looking to you for guidance. I mean, this is kind of like this is your, you have more of expertise in this area. So, and since you were out there originally anyway, I guess we're looking to you to basically just make the decision, because ultimately it rolls up to PPAC to decide if they can't make a decision, but ultimately it's PPAC's responsibility over the budget. So at this point, because of all the back and forth and nobody can seem to agree on anything, it's been requested that you, PPAC, make a decision, and that's what
I
we'll
would
move forward
recommend that
with.
we are done with the tree trimming and move on.
None?
Well, we
None.
have, but we do have to,
We do have to trim.
make a vote. We have to make a vote, right?
Well, when we look at all of the committees, we've got safety and security that's going to take precedence over landscape, in my opinion.
Correct.
Well, I mean, all the comments that safety and security had received, either in person or via emails, and that were really around the lighting, inconsistent dark spots in the pavements and the sidewalks. The whole issue with shade, this is Ed speaking, I guess my personal thing. Most of Pelican runs north-south. So if you trim the trimming of the trees for the road isn't going to affect the shade in the mornings or the afternoon. I mean, if you trim on the east side in the morning, that'll still provide shade to the east side sidewalk, but trimming those trees won't affect the shade on the west side, and just the reverse in the middle of the day. The only thing the trimming affects is the shade during the midday when the sun's up high in the sky. And not that many people, majority of the people that are out walking do their walking in the mornings and the evenings. So to me, the shading was less of an issue than the nighttime security.
We're kind of like that, exactly that. I mean, the point of putting in new lights was to give you guys better light coverage and more of a safety thing. So we have safety and security, like Peggy said, approaching it from like a safety and visibility standpoint, and then landscape is approaching it more from an aesthetic standpoint. Yeah. So
why is it that I go to these subcommittee meetings and I don't see any residents at the meetings complaining about the shading or the trees? The only people that are complaining about the tree trimming and the shading and this or that about the lighting are people on the committees, no residents. Well, they are residents, but
they aren't at the meeting, but we've got.
They aren't at the meetings.
But we've got emails and other communications from them, so.
And so, Ed, correct, I'm going to use the word complaints, the comments that are coming in typically seem to address morning walking dogs or throughout the day. I mean, I've heard a couple about in the morning at 6 o'clock before the sun's up and I'm walking my dog, I can't see on the sidewalk. Is that where most of the comments come from, or?
I don't know that they've specified that much morning or evening, but I've heard some from the evening when they're out.
And I guess also going aesthetically, when you say major, I just always worry when trees get major trimming that suddenly our aesthetic look, particularly around the preserve, is chopped away in the interest of a little bit of light.
I mean, the trimming is those, basically it would, from the light, you then go take a angle down to basically ground level at, say, 100 feet. And trim the canopy up to that angle. And then you don't really have to trim back very far to get the light on the sidewalks. So you're basically going up at most from the curb up. Not
We
back
were
to the
successful
trees,
here
so.
too. I mean, because, we have our canopy on Gateway Boulevard and we were able to do all of our trimming without affecting that canopy, and we still have all those lights and we still get light through. So even with major pruning and trimming.
I mean, a lot of these, it was one branch. I mean, there's a stretch there in the preserve and there's a stretch south of the bridge where there's a lot, but most of them, it's like one branch that has to come off.
I think what's happening is that every tree is of a different size and of a different canopy. And to have somebody go out there and not carefully say, just take that branch off, I would worry that they would take some major steps and it would maybe ruin the aesthetics. So if somebody would be able to go out with them and really monitor what they're removing, I think the landscape committee would be amenable to that.
We require there to be an arborist on site anytime any tree trimming is done, and an arborist would not let that, I mean, that's their job, is to make sure the trees stay healthy and from the trimming and everything. Yeah, so that's a requirement for our contracts, is that an arborist be on site anytime they're doing any type of trimming on the trees.
Have these committees held a joint workshop to discuss this issue?
The problem that we run into also is that after this month's meeting, landscape won't be meeting until like October.
Right.
And what is our budget? Maybe that's an unrelated question because it doesn't change that much, but what do we have in the budget for this trimming?
It's coming out of landscape, though.
Pardon me?
It's
They
coming
have-
out of the landscape budget.
It would come out of the lighting maintenance on the safety and if it came out of there, or it would be out of tree trimming if it came out of landscape.
And that we would need to decide that. So right now, they have,
We had $70,000 in the R&M of streetlights.
yep, and then for tree trimming, they still have,
31,000.
almost $32,000, so it'd be about a third of it.
Well, if
Yeah.
I would only say if safety and security is pushing this, it shouldn't come out of landscaping's committee.
The proposal is actually coming from landscape.
Yeah, either way, I think
So-
safety has to trump the aesthetics. It has to.
Yes.
You can't leave dark spots, and next thing you know, someone's gonna trip and fall and blame the fact there were no lights there. You've gotta go with the safety side and then try and prevent the over trimming, whatever means, whether it's a committee out there or an arborist or something, just give them the same instructions that Ed gave, stretch it to 100 feet on either side and don't trim any more than you need to. But you gotta get the safety side together.
This, I mean,
Ed,
when we
is there-
when we did the lighting project, safety and security knew that there were going to be these repair items that were going to be needed as part of the project.
Right, and
We just didn't know what they would cost to budget for them. And they were fully expected to do this, and then Chelsea wanted it run through the landscaping, so now.
which is completely opposite of how we did it over here. Like, we charged all of the tree trimming, the sod replacement, everything went against the streetlight project.
I interpreted that as she just wanted to bounce it off of them, but not
Approval.
Yeah.
approval and financing and all of that. so-
My thought is we should handle the projects consistently between the Pelican side and outside of Pelican. Because here, if it was related to the replacement of the streetlights, it all went against the project. The tree trimming, the sod replacement, any irrigation breaks, any of the repairs we had to make, all got charged to the project because it was all part of the project.
That's what I assumed too.
And that'll be my recommendation for where to pull the funding from.
Yeah, I would
Are
agree.
we down to 40, 40 trees or 80? We're down to 40 with major trim. Is that what we're talking about?
That's what the
Who
latest
agreed to
is.
40?
When they,
Nobody has yet.
when they went down to the 40, my opinion to Paul was, okay, let them trim the 40 trees, and if it's not adequate, we can come back and do more. But then you pay the contractor to mobilize again and come back, so.
Right. And the difference in price wasn't that much. It was only $2,000. So
Cheaper.
it was $2,000 less to do 40 versus 80. So,
It will grow back.
yep.
And that was part of the thing too, they just did the trim, so it's 2 years before, till they do the next trim, and so you got to allow for 2 years worth of growth. And if you don't trim back enough now, you're going
To cut to the, what do you need, a motion?
I need a motion. I need you guys to tell me, to direct staff what you would like to do. So,
A motion to cut the 80 trees.
Trim the 80 trees.
Trim the
please,
80 trees.
As recommended by the Safety and Security Committee.
Yes.
And I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded, moved by Marty, seconded by Tom to
Trim the 80
trim
trees.
the 80
as
trees.
the original proposal.
The original proposal.
Okay, the $12,400.
Would you amend that to direct it to the safety and security streetlight project budget?
Sure.
You're thinking
Okay.
longer.
Sure.
Be consistent, like she said.
Right.
It should be charged against the streetlight project.
Okay.
Ready
And you just need to
vote?
vote.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion
Thank you.
carried.
And I will give, Paul will give an update to landscape at their meeting, and I'll do that at the safety and security meeting then as well. So thank you for that. There's been a lot of back and forth, and I'm like, we have PPAC, I'm just gonna bring it here and let you guys decide, because it's ultimately your decision anyway, so.
Before
All
we
right.
get off this topic, can I ask Ed, is there any spots where you guys have made a determination that we're gonna need to adjust, either put another light pole in or anything?
No, not at this point. I mean, there's not been
Okay.
any. I mean, part of it is there's no plans to add any additional lights. It would be a little bit problematic to do that, but until we get the trees trimmed to actually see what the lighting patterns are.
Okay.
All right. Oh,
Okay.
so that was landscape, safety and security.
Safety and security.
That was safety and security's here.
And just for, the bids are out for the Pelican Preserve mill and resurface.
Yep.
That project will have three components, basically. One, the mill and resurfacing from tree line to the four-way stop. The second will be to formally implement the bike lane on the boulevards. And then the third component is to redo all the striping in all the on all the other neighborhood streets, basically the stop bars and crosswalks and that.
What about the Prado Rotary?
That's part of the striping, isn't it?
That,
No, I'm
let's
asking.
see. One of them was just done with thermoplasty, but then the other one, I guess the Prado Rotary, that's part of this. Yeah, the adjustment for the rotary is part
Striping,
of
when
this.
when it was shown, that was part of it, but,
Right.
yeah, because that's gonna,
That was
I just wanted to
that was
be sure
added to
that-
the bike lane design that went through permitting.
so I'm gonna make sure, part one, they're gonna do repaving from tree line to the four-way. That's the big intersection, when you say, okay. And then bike lanes will just be on Pelican Reserve Boulevard?
Pelican, Cypress Grove, and Prado.
On all of the
All the
boulevards?
all the four lanes.
Okay, and then redo striping everywhere.
Yeah.
And we're not doing Vincenza, right? Vincenza, whatever it is.
No, we're gonna hold off on the part that goes,
Not the resurfacing, no.
Okay.
So the bids will be coming in.
The
and-
bids are going to be open on the 27th, and I will announce the numbers to let them know. Well, I mean, it's public, you can look ahead of time, but I'll be bringing that to the meeting on the 28th, and then Safety and Security is having a special meeting June something here in the boardroom to go over and make a recommendation, so we can get that to the
We should
board.
get it at the next.
I just know
our
it's on my
next meeting.
calendar.
We should get it at our next meeting then.
Yes,
believe.
that's why they're meeting before you meet, so they can come to you at your first meeting, at your meeting in June.
And without even having the bids, so we have an expectation of start date?
No, no,
Right.
it'll take time.
Right.
It's normally at least 30 days from whenever we open the bids, because it takes time to process all the paperwork and for them to get back everything to us that we need.
No, I'm
And
only
so,
thinking of
yeah.
notifying the community when it's,
Oh, we absolutely will, yeah.
Our goal is to have it done by the end of September within this budget year.
Yeah. Thank you, Cece. June 3rd. Yep. And then it'll come to you at your June 11th meeting. And then to the board on the 18th, because it's going to be a big one, so.
Anything else for safety and security?
Doug's going to give a ponds update, since they don't have one in here.
3 items are already going to be discussed, 8D, H, and I. So I'm not going to bring them up. We'll talk about them then. The only other thing, Jim Latham was elected the chairman of the group at our last meeting, and Harold Dagnow is the vice chair. And then there's 2 new members. That's one of the things you're going to vote on. Okay. And the only other thing is Pond 21, which is the biggest one. It's over 7,000. They're starting the process. That would be the next one in the future that we do. And it's over 7,000 linear feet. It's the one right there at that intersection of Cypress Grove and Pelican Preserve on the right, where that person drove the car into the pond. That is the.
But they
that's
said
the
they
lo-
failed to negotiate the curve that's not
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the large one.
yeah.
old cars.
Yeah, it's the whole car. They can float. That's it, along with the 3 things we're going to
When
talk
did that
about later.
happen? I missed that. When did that happen?
Oh, that was shortly after I started here.
Oh,
It was
okay.
probably back like 2020,
Okay.
maybe early 21.
The dog died.
Yeah. The guy had open bottles of booze in his car and it was a whole thing.
Wanted the person to die.
Okay.
Is the project to do Pond 21, is that an absolute must-do this next budget year?
It's in the budget right now, in the budget that Jim presented. It's in the budget there. That's a next one that we would do from a standpoint of needed. It's a big one and there's a fair amount of it that has significant drop-offs, significant erosion.
Okay. Nothing else for ponds? Go on to for discussion, 8A.
Yep, and I do actually, Bill Prezy is online from Weston and Sampson. So if you have any questions about that, I can see him. He's anxiously awaiting your comments and questions.
I'm here.
Do you want him just to go through the presentation?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think it would be helpful since we haven't had any conversations with him.
all right. You're up, Bill.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry I couldn't be there. I would love to be there in person and make it a lot easier, but I think technology will get us through without any event. I believe you guys saw the design program, and that was really to kind of get a feel for general direction of whatnot. So the schematics is more into let's putting shape and form into some ideas, and at least this gives us a location of pretty much the context of the area we're talking about. It's more, I'd say, tree line forward of the guardhouse and pretty much the area right around the main signs. Context was also to look at balancing and looking at possibly going from an asymmetric design to more of a symmetrical design to give more impact as you drive into the community. That's what some of the direction we got, and was to limit the context of the changes forward of the gatehouse. You go to the next slide, kind of gives a little better an angle of that area there, and you can see on the left side, the north side, there is plenty of opportunity there with land to put in another feature on that side that would make it a symmetrical entry point. And whether it's symmetrical in form or symmetrical in impact, there is opportunity to do that there. And I believe that's one of the driving forces, as we all know, that this project was at the terminus of tree line when it was built. So everybody was coming north to south and just making the left-hand turn in here. That not being the case anymore, the dynamics of the entry into the community has changed dramatically. So the idea there was really to look at, what's there, how we would make changes to it, and how those changes would best relate to the community within. We did do some studies, looking at the guardhouse, looking at the community center and the clubhouse, and they all have their distinct architecture in each of the community. The community signs there's some joint signs, and each of the community entry signs, there's basically 3 different forms. They're relatively, you could call them Mediterranean Tuscan in nature, but they're not heavily definitive in that regard. More so in just in the curves and in their form, they generally evoke that style, but I don't think they're locked into it. So that was kind of our thinking going into some of the design ideas. And we can kind of jump through the next slide, getting into, we did 2 primary concepts here. We did many more, but I think we limited down to these 2 to get some general feedback on which direction you guys like. So concept 1, if you want to slide down to the next. The idea here was trying to utilize as much of the existing structure as we can and to somewhat reskin and reuse some of those structural elements from a standpoint of not recreating the wheel and trying to use some of that existing structure. There's pros and cons to that. Sometimes it's a lot more cost effective to just go in, clean out new and start over again. There is some difficulties when you get into contracting of using the existing structure, and there's also limitations based on the structural components of those structures. And I hope you guys know what I mean by that. But this idea was trying to utilize those existing facilities the best we could. And I think the best opportunity there is the pedestrian trellis and the tower that's up closer to the entry feature. I don't really think you need to redo those. Those are such that I think whatever design and whatever approach we did with the features, I think we can utilize those forms by pretty much changing maybe materials and methods. Maybe right now there's a tile roof on it. This concept was looking at putting a steel roof on it, changing the colors and the lighting, maybe taking the kind of traditional, and it is very Tuscan, where you take mosaics and put it in tile on the walls. We took it out, put lighting fixtures. This gives it a little more towards the contemporary without getting too far away from the architectural style. But I think regardless of what direction we would take with concepts of the entry sign, I think you can maintain those existing facilities there by just kind of changing the nature of them with materials and colors and whatnot. And I think that's the best bang for your dollar. So that's where a lot of these concepts are going. And then in this concept, the entry sign, we did a couple different forms by bringing, taking the very Tuscan, and I'm just going to use the word Tuscan because I think that's a good definitive definition of the style that exists. And I'm not being derogatory in that anyway. I'm just being definitive in the description. And I think one of the best ways of maybe tying the 2 together using the existing theme is to bring that tower element into the signage, because then you're getting the continuity of the forms without making too many drastic changes to what's there. So that's what the idea is with the 2 signs to the left on the main entry, is utilizing that, changing the style of the sign a little bit, and then simplifying the water into being just more of a pool with bubblers. And then the same with the median sign is to just change the style of that to match the wing walls, because this would be reshaping the wall in the south and reintroducing a new wall in the north. So you'd be coming in, you'd be seeing those 2 wing walls and the new entry in the median. So the structure would all have a very uniform feel as you're driving into it. And that change in the median would be is maybe you just bring a small pool, or you bring in a real long kind of a lay type of almost like a reflecting pool into it. And those pools are relatively inexpensive in that you're not bringing in heavy pumps and a lot of equipment that you have to maintain over time. So those type of pools are a little more cost effective to maintain than the running fountains. So that's kind of the general idea with concept 1. Do you guys want me to roll into concept 2 and then come back and talk about these, or do you want to talk about these and then go into the next concept? What's your preference?
It's up to you guys. I'm I'm just here.
Okay.
Be
Go
the
I push
to
a
the
button.
counts of two.
Yeah,
Be
let's
number
go to
two.
2 and then we can come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. And then this is, or go back to that. Let's just roll through that. I forgot till we had a little more of an.
I did too. I would
This-
have pulled them up. Sorry.
Yeah, I know, and I was talking right there and I didn't realize we did have those there. My bad. Well, this kind of shows you this would be where those wing walls would be, and the one on the south obviously is kind of utilizing the existing structure. Then the concept would repeat it by building a new structure on the north side. So you can see in these two, they're kind of similar, but one is a little more simplified, concept 1A. Concept 1B kind of maintains a little more of the existing feel of the sculpture there, or I should say the structure there, but it just widens and creates more of a pool to simplify the water features. Because I know you guys have issues, and I think we all know that one of the most expensive parts of introducing water and water fountains in the entry features is the long-term maintenance of them. It's not necessarily cost of building them, it's the cost of operating them that really drive a budget number. So that's the idea here, is that you can see it was they have the tower elements, and then this is kind of a couple different ideas of how you could redo the main entry and trying to make it a little more contemporary without getting too far away from that Tuscan style. So that's what these elements are trying to demonstrate here. And again, it's a differentiation of how you could use water there, because currently there's no water in the median. But I think one way you could do it is maybe in this concept, you only have water in the median and you don't do it on the wing walls, or you do it on the wing walls and not in the median, or you do it in all three. There's a lot of flexibility in the direction we could go in design here. And as you know, those all have budget numbers tied to them as well. So that's the ideas here, kind of with the concept and where that feature is located.
I got a really mundane question, but
Sure, there's no such thing.
The median signs you have, it's just 3 examples, but a different bird than the pelican. Would you be consistent with the pelican?
And again,
the entry signs?
No, that's actually a very sage question, and that's something that's really part of the next step in this, is really how do you want your signage and your logo to be? Is it in this context, or do we do something differently creative? But the idea would be to maintain consistency with logo in the signage here and as you move forward. But that's actually a really good question that leads into another question of mine, is really what do you guys want to do with the way Pelican Preserve is illustrated at your front door? You know, do we use this type of logo that you're using in your
Promise
promotion?
it won't be that. It
No, we
it won't be
use the
that.
gateway.
No, it's your neighborhood. It'll be Pelican. So yeah.
We'll use our Pelican.
And without knowing,
Yeah, I would think it'd be
Pelican
the same.
Preserve.
yeah,
logo.
your concepts have lights on these
Oh, those too many.
median signs and on the front. Do we presently have these lights? Just,
No.
they look like lights anyhow on the.
Yeah, that is the idea here, is to evoke a lighting fixture in there, because in my mind, it's kind of that's like the current thing that is very in vogue, I should say, with entry features, is bringing in certain light elements that become part of the design language that you're illustrating when you create signage, is really having cool lighting features. And a lot of times you can just do that with hidden lights coming up from the ground or backlighting. But personally, I like to introduce lighting fixtures that you can carry in through. That's a design preference of mine, and it's one I'm illustrating here. Doesn't have to stay. It can go. It can be modified. It's just the idea here.
And I will say that I've looked at a lot of electrical and stuff there, and it's all in really bad shape. And so if we start doing anything here, a lot of that will basically have to be totally redone anyway. And a lot of the landscape lighting and other things has just kind of been jerry-rigged to keep it going for a long time. So redoing the electrical would end up, I'm sure, being part of all of this. So
I think that's probably a fair estimate. Yes. And one of the at least benefit of landscape lighting today is that we have the beauty of low volt lighting that is very readily done today and can be very cost effective approach. And you're going to redo all that anyway. But low volt lighting is pretty cost effective to put in, and you're not relying on an electrician to do it. But when you get into powering your water features or the lighting on your fixtures, you're definitely going to need conventional electrical wiring to feed those. Again, that's kind of an idea of how we take that existing trellis feature and just kind of reskin it to give it more of a modern, or I shouldn't say modern, more of a contemporary feel, just updating it without completely redoing it. And I look at the way that structure and the tower works in, I don't think you'd want to take them away. They're very well done, elegantly stated features as you drive in there. And I think there's something that you would want to carry on in any improvement you do here. There's no reason to take them out. I think there's a lot of argument to maintain them and just bring them, so long as they communicate with the same architectural language as everything else. And that's the same thing. And that's the same thing with the tower. It's just changing the materials to be a little different. This is bringing, the idea here is to bring in a little bit of a color change, bringing in coquina, which is more of a native and a natural rock, versus stucco, which is more Tuscan, and then going with a metal roof versus a tile roof, just to give you that more contemporary feel and to give you a little more longevity that metal will give you over tile. So that's the ideas here.
Remember, everybody complained about when we painted the Pelican.
We made sure that we expressed that the Pelican needed to stay prominent in your stuff.
I think it should. I mean, I think it should. It's kind of a cool thing.
I mean, that's your logo, that's your identity, so yeah.
I think it's a good one, and it's a good one. Okay, concept 2, this is kind of breaking into, a different train of thinking. It's getting into something that is more contemporary, but without, I was trying to come up with something that carried the trellis ideas that you have even in the entry feature and throughout the community, especially in the community center. And then, coming up with a different form that wouldn't break too far away from the entry signs that you have inside the community, but it gives kind of a new feel for when you drive into the project. And the idea on the water feature here is that the water falls down behind the lettering and it could cascade down into a pool. So it's just a fall of water. And the main idea of that is that one of the ways, especially when I see entry features, in my perspective, is they have to look good whether the water is running or not. Because I call it, what's it look like with a dead water fountain? So if the water fountain isn't running, you don't want your entry feature to look like it's a dead water fountain. So the idea of these is that if the water fountain isn't running, it still looks like a presentable sign. And that was the idea here. The only difference is on the median sign, if you're going to have that cascading into a reflection pool, then we might have to rethink that interface where how it might look if it's just a reflecting pool going to the sign. But right there, you can see if that water wasn't falling into the reflecting pool, it might look like a dead water fountain. So there might need to be some refinement if we introduce a falling water feature into your signage. I hope I made that clear of how the water is intended to interface with this sign design.
It's hard to tell how large that reflective pool is.
It would be about a quarter of the width of the existing median. The median's about, what I'd say, about 25 feet wide. So it would be at least 10 feet wide. It'd be wide enough that you would get a feel for it going up.
Like an infinity pool.
Do you have an idea for the price difference between the main entry sign in concept 1 and the?
I would like to answer that
Concept
question
2.
as we move past, into those, before I really get bogged down into price estimates at this stage. And I respect that question, but I would just like to defer that to a little later.
All right.
And then this is just, these gives you a better idea of how the sketch concept, just went from idea into a little more of a formal presentation. And that's, in the angular trellising could be, that could be tempered down to be a little more conventional, but was an idea to give it a little more of a contemporary feel with angles versus your straight kind of horizontal lines that you get with Tuscan architecture.
And I'm going to date myself, but I immediately thought George Jetson.
Don't be
I didn't
alone,
think it
Peggy,
would
I
be that
kind of did the
crazy.
same thing, yeah.
Didn't want it, and I think when you take it into the next design step, we would definitely want to take it away from looking too spatial. But if the idea is to give it a little more of a break from just, lines and curves. It was the idea of getting into some angles and some things that are a little more contemporary in feel without being too crazy. But this again gives you an idea. The idea is just falling water down, so you give it, you get the sound of it, the feel of it, and especially at night you get the shimmer of it with the light on it. And you can still get that even with the reflecting pool, even if it's just a little bit of water in the basin. If you have lights coming up through it, you get that shimmer on the wall, even if you don't have water on the wall. So there are creative ways that you can use water without the cost of pumping water all the time.
Where is the light in these concepts? I don't see any. Talk about light on
Well,
the-
that median sign, in this concept, there's no actual emanating lighting. That was on the other concept.
Okay,
This concept would be more probably LED lighting, line LED lighting, up lighting. It would be a different approach to lighting. It'd be hidden lighting. Because with LED lighting now, you can do line lighting with LEDs that are, you don't even see it and it just casts light. It's pretty cool what you can do with modern lighting today. So that's primary. Then the idea here is that the same concept that I was demonstrating with the trellis colonnade and the tower going in. I think you treat them pretty much the same, because the idea is that this design wouldn't break too far away from the existing architectural style. It does, but I was hoping not too much, not enough that it would look completely out of place. So with that, I think it's open to floor to questions, comments, and shotgun blasts if they're appropriate.
This is Marty.
What do we need to do at this point? Or
It's the next step, yeah.
I guess, Bill, what are you looking for from them? That's more of a question for him. So, because this is we're doing paperwork behind the scenes, so this is your community, these are your funds.
No,
So I think this is where you guys need to have some discussion and help give him some guidance for what you like,
Yep.
what you don't like, which will help him be able to hone it in and get you designs more for what you're looking for. Are there too many features? You want to have less? You want to have more? This is where this discussion starts to happen.
Hit the nail on the head. I would think out of those two concepts, it would be as which direction do you like?
I have a question.
Mhm.
This is Marty. Does any of the north side monument proposals encroach on the golf course property?
That's where to go into that next step, I believe a survey would need to be done to make sure. If it does, from my assessment of standing out there, there is plenty of space that you could encroach into where the fence is without affecting the play of the golf course. There would be because there's actually
go
that
back to
area
the
is a
review of
transition
the-
from a tee box, from a green to a tee box. So you're not affecting any of the play of golf if you encroached into that space.
We're talking this side.
on the north side,
Yes.
community association owns the property all the way to the golf cart path.
Oh, then I think it could be done.
Put a river in there.
Because I think the impact would go past where the existing fence is, but I don't think it would go as far as the path.
Bill, this is Tom. I like them both. I actually prefer the contemporary, but
I
need
do
to know
too,
what.
actually.
Well, a number makes a big difference as we talk about things and how we present them to a community. And I'd almost, in the end, want to fine tune both and let them vote, pick what they want. But what is the cost differential between these two concepts?
No, the difference between the two concepts, I think, would be pretty close. And again, I'm not sure, and this is one of those things I'd probably have to really sit down with my structural guys and see how much true benefit do we get out of using the existing structure of the south side versus just knocking it down and starting over. Because you guys know, sometimes when you renovate a home too far, you're better off just knocking it down and starting over. So the difference in cost, I'm not sure is going to be that significant. It might be in the tens of thousands, but it certainly wouldn't be in six figures. I think the overall cost here, you're probably looking in the ballpark of $500,000. I'm thinking it's about 500.
Sell that property out at the corner tree line.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, I like the concept one because it just continues the flavor and all of our existing monuments and bridges and everything that we have throughout the neighborhood. It just keeps that same look and feel. If we start deviating from it too much, to me, it starts looking kind of hodgepodgey. But
I was going to
Fair
say,
statement.
I like the waterfall more because of all the issues. I'm on the other side, the maintenance issue.
I'm with you.
With the fountains that we have now. There've always been a problem with the pumps and how high
They
does the water go up and all those type things. My take is I like the waterfall.
Could the waterfall be worked in, and I think Ed makes a
Yes,
good
it
point.
could, it could.
It
into
could.
the
I mean, you
other
could have
concept.
part of concept one and part of concept two
Yes,
merged
yes, guys,
together.
and please think of it that way. If you really like some of that ideas from concept 2, where you had that kind of that feel of that water curtain, maybe we bring that feel into that more traditional style.
Right. Yep.
And there is a way we could take some of those ideas from 1 and put them in 2.
Correct.
I agree with you.
I agree with that.
But how would you do it on those? I mean, the idea being, could you get a waterfall in concept A1 and 1B and 1A?
Mhm. Yep.
You could?
Have to be
That's
taller.
my job to figure that out in the show too.
Have to be a taller one.
Yeah, you'd have to kind of knock down what you had.
To tell you the truth, guys, if you
Well, and it might
get,
be easier to do
if
it
you
on
really
the
get into
median-
something
on the
like that,
median.
it's probably gonna be better to just knock down what's there, because you're getting into
That-
different footers and it could get costly trying to
I was
torture
just
what's
thinking the
there to
same
work.
thing, Bill. Yeah.
But still stay to the
She said
curved
she was thinking the
look
same.
as
He
opposed to the
recommended
sharp
that
look.
if you guys are talking about doing this, it's probably gonna be more cost effective to take down what's there
Yeah.
and just start over.
Yeah.
And Peggy said she agreed.
I agree with that.
I can tell
I
you
still get
contractors like it. I can tell you contractors definitely like that process a lot better.
Because the infrastructure for what we have today, the water, the electric, you're going to have to replace a lot of that stuff anyway.
Right.
Could stop
Right.
this pond.
Yeah, we'll put big fish in there.
Koi,
Koi in the reflecting pond.
yes, koi in the reflecting pond.
Well, if
Pelican,
you guys feel like you need the caucus on it a little more, or maybe contemplate it before you give a definitive direction, I'm in no rush. I'm at your
I guess
service when,
This is Ed. Is it Bill? Is it Bill?
yes.
I know one of the problems, and Doug brought it up, was issues that we've had with our pumps and the fountains. Is that, one of my questions would be, is that because we've got some legacy stuff and some things that may be causing problems? I mean, if you went all new, are fountains and that much of an issue like we might have experienced with our existing
Well,
ones?
Ed, on the side that we have with the fountains on the right, when you come in, those have all new pumps and all the equipment behind the thing is all new.
But if the piping wasn't sized right to start with and
right.
other things,
Right.
I just wonder if some of our issues aren't because it wasn't designed right 20 years ago or
or just that it's 20 years old.
whatever, yeah.
Or poor maintenance.
Or poor maintenance over the years, so.
Yep. Poor maintenance will kill the longevity of a water feature, no doubt.
So Laura, so we don't have any bidders for any of the properties on the corner of Tree Line and Colonial yet, right?
Correct.
So we would be funding this with homeowners' money.
Or you'd either
So
fund it from
$2.5
reserves or
million
assessments.
$2.5 million spent would cost each homeowner in Pelican Preserve.
It was
$1,000.
$500,000. $500,000.
0.5.
Point five.
500,000.
So 500,000 would still cost $200,000 per household. Or
No.
200.
excuse me, $200 per household.
Yeah, 200.
Or you take it out of your reserves.
Yeah,
So,
or
I mean,
half
there-
and half. or
There are
half and half.
options. Yeah, there are options. And again, it's not a rush. We're not, you don't have to do this now. It's just, you had requested that we find somebody to start getting some ideas. I'm sure it's gonna
Right.
take, this is a big deal. So it's gonna take you some time to kind of hone it. And then as you figure out what you want to do, that'll help Bill get it designed and that'll give him you'll be able to get a little closer on your cost estimate once you get closer to what you're actually gonna do.
So we've
So-
had.
Yeah, well,
had
the next
several-
step, when we're actually putting, dimensions to things and selecting materials, then we can give you a lot better estimated cost.
We've had several meetings previously with PPAC where we talked about having a resident committee to look at this. And we've never done anything with it.
Well, I believe that this is one of those things that it's going to need a broad approach. We've got to make sure that we've got the acceptance of our community, that this is where they would want to spend money, regardless of whether it's from reserves or, you know, if we sell the corner parcels, well, it gives us a little bit of gravy, so that's good. But, you know, at some point, we will need to engage the community. And whether that's through a subgroup or whether it's through town hall meetings or whatever, we're just going to have to make those decisions.
Would I have two groups that could address this if they work together, and that's both ponds. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong when I say ponds, but landscape definitely could be approached, and they could bring in design experts to give them advice, rather than creating a brand new committee that's going to redesign this, because that's suddenly Bill would go crazy.
But part of the discussion was to do this out of this because, well, some of the issues that we ran into just with the colors of the monument and stuff, that to bring it up a level and to try to coordinate and manage it at least
do it
to
at a professional level rather than you get to.
Right, and that's why we have Bill.
If we
so.
flush this out a little bit more, then, you know, we could have a series of town hall meetings and things like that with the community and present it and stuff. They just may want to get a little more.
That'll get
flushed out.
complicated, just letting you know that, because those all have to be, if you guys are all gonna be there, that's gonna have to be a public meeting.
Yeah.
So either that, or we can have workshops here too, where you invite the community to come to do it. It's whatever. I'll travel there, whatever.
Ed, do you view that we sell the concept, or the next thing above that would be, are you looking at the community to vote whether or not we do it? Well, I mean,
Well, if we're going to ask them to pay for it, right? I think there's.
they pay for everything.
They don't vote.
That's never voted.
So I was wondering if we could get the blend of the two ideas, maybe have three concepts, if that's possible. The real
third merged
modernized
one?
one.
Can I make a little bit of a suggestion to say thank you? This is a great start.
Yeah.
I don't think we are anywhere near ready to fully discuss this out on how to go do this. We haven't talked
Right.
about budgets. We just, somebody said, have you ever looked? And that's where we are. So
Right.
I'm not prepared to really discuss and make any decisions.
Oh, no, we're not expecting you to make any decisions at this point. This is a total first stab based on, and bits and pieces that you gave to myself, and Chelsea and I shared that with Bill, and this is what he put together based on what we fed him from you guys, so. And that the intent of this is truly just, this is a starting point. This is, you're not expected to go, we want 1A and we want 2, that's not the intent of this at all. This is just like.
Correct.
We talked to
Yeah.
Bill, and Bill's like, here's some stuff that I came up with based on what I was asked to do. And now it's up to you guys to say, we like this, we like that. Can we combine this? Can we come up with a totally different concept? We don't like either of them. That's what all of this is for.
Yeah, I got the sense now it's really taking a blending and going in one direction, but kind of morphing that design one into something else.
Personally, I would like to take it far enough that we at least have some idea of what a budgetary cost might be,
Mhm.
so that we know, is concept one, is it $500,000? Is it $1 million? Is it 10 million? So we have some, how big the bread box is.
Just want to give it back to Bill and say, give us a number on these two as exists.
One question, is 10 million okay?
They'd be different designs, I know that.
Peggy is shaking her head no. You all can't see that, but I can, so. She's like, no.
I like the waterfall concepts. I don't like any of the designs with the trellis, because all that does is the wood rots.
No, the idea here would be to use aluminum, not
Aluminum?
wood, not even a composite. My idea here would be to use aluminum.
Yeah.
Because if you use wood in Florida, you're going to get a short lifespan out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your direction then for Bill for what you would like him to work on next? Because you got some options, even in concept one, there's A and B. Are you looking for him to come back with pricing for each of the concepts as presented? Are you asking him to kind of like meld them, like you had expressed that you really like the waterfall versus the fountains, and maybe try to work that waterfall part into the concept one? I just want to make sure he has clear direction so that
Right.
you don't waste his time and he doesn't waste your time looking at something if it's not what you want. And I know that you don't really know what you want yet, but I mean, if we
Right.
can at least kind of start working towards things you like about them.
If I could, I'd just like to interject one thing. And I've actually just recently done 2 projects like this, one for Pelican Sound and one for another project in Naples, where we're really actually redoing, not only Pelican Sound was redoing all of their signage throughout the community. And when it comes to getting the community buy-in, I can tell you just from experience, especially when you're working with a large community, especially one the size of Pelican Preserve, is give them one thought out idea and let them pick on that. See what they don't like and they like. If you give them too many ideas, it goes sideways fast.
I agree with you, Bill.
Yeah.
Can we ask for a melded concept using the
Mhm.
waterfalls and pricing with materials,
Mhm.
with a complete revamp, not using existing materials,
Absolutely.
and see where we would come up with that? Does that sound more like what everybody was hoping for?
Peggy, that's kind of what I inferred. So what you're asking, I think, is what I heard.
Okay.
And that's what I heard too.
Everybody in concurrence with that? I vote yes.
Yep,
We go
I
ahead
agree.
with the melded.
You good then, Bill?
So
I
our,
am. Not only good, I'm happy, I'm pleased, I'm energized.
concept 2 with the medium design and the waterfalls would certainly make us look more like Marina Bay.
Don't necessarily want to do.
Well, that's what
Ooh.
all of our residents
Now
have
that you
told
say
us, that we
that
need to look
scarily
fresher.
does.
We
They
need,
look at
yeah,
that as professional and they like it.
It
right.
needs a facelift at the front. We want to look like Marina Bay.
Concept 2, I think I like concept 2. The only concern,
I
I
do
think
too.
Ed makes a good point. That it's
I didn't even think
inconsistent
of it
with
like
what's
that.
inside the gate. Now, if you want to go ahead and put up a couple million and we do all of the monuments throughout all the neighborhoods, then you're being consistent with your whole design. I like 2. I don't know how you do 2 and not address what's inside the
Well,
gate.
and that's where we have to trust Bill that he's going to be able to come up with something that would give us the feel of concept 2 with the
Concept 1 architecture.
overall concept of,
Yeah. Architecture, but with waterfalls.
Well, I'll tell you one thing you've prompted me to do is I'm gonna go by Marina Bay to make sure we're not repeating that one.
No, it's a,
Because as
it's
soon
a
as you
lot
said that, I
bigger.
was like, ooh, I didn't take that into consideration.
Well, there's much more down on the street corner.
All right.
But I heard the direction is to stay more into the feel of concept 1, correct?
We're only at 500,000.
the feel of
I
concept
really doubt
2
that.
is what.
I think we should move on. You guys have a lot to
That's
talk
fine. I think we're
about.
spinning wheels on something.
Can we move on?
We got a long agenda and we got to get out that
All
door
right.
by 4 o'clock.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right. These next ones should go pretty quick.
Oh, no. Him again?
That darn Tom.
Have a motion to accept Tom Shaner.
Have a motion to accept them.
Second.
Marty second.
Doug,
Marty?
Okay, well,
Doug moved, Marty seconded to accept Tom Shaner's renewal on our PPAC.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
I don't know, we did solicit for others, correct?
We did. Everything was
did.
published, yes.
all had to.
Yes, I got called about the advertisement about the openings on PPAC.
Yeah. People asking, who's leaving?
That's correct.
HC.
We have a safety and security, 2 people are up that want to be, I don't know who the CC person is, but
Yeah,
She's not
she's a
very
little
active.
suspicious.
Yeah.
She's not very active in the community at all, so I don't know.
Not very vocal, so.
I'd like to make a I'd like to make a motion to accept both members on the Safety and Security Subcommittee.
Marty?
I'll
Marty
second it.
moved, is there a second?
I second.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? No, motion carries unanimously. Same thing here for ponds.
We had a deserter, so he had to fill it in.
And Lynn Applegren stepped down because he's a seasonal.
Okay.
And that's why there was.
He's
two
done
openings.
so much, though. We really appreciate him.
Right.
Make a
So,
motion to accept both members to the pond subcommittee as identified.
I second it.
They're new, both. Right, both are new, Doug?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries.
Communication review. Patricia.
Any more to add?
Comments on
Okay,
the-
so this is just an overview of things that went out this last month and and some people that I met with. I wanted to pass out the bulletins. Everyone should take one copy and read at your leisure. These are the bulletins that we put out about the budget. And we will want to do something similar again. And this included a Q&A, and I will work to modify it, make it maybe a little easier to digest, but I want everybody to give me your thoughts on the type of information here, and if there's other things that you would like to feature this year. Of course, it will be a little different depending on how things turn out, but just wanted to get a head start on that. That's it.
All right, so this, the lease agreement is actually sitting with Mr. Weiser himself right now. I checked in with Joe. He's the regional manager here for them. It's actually sitting with Mr. Weiser right now. So we're pretty close to getting this signed for them to be able to drive the vehicle. The vehicle is in the parking lot. It was delivered much sooner than we were expecting to get it. They had told us it would be like probably 4 to 6 weeks at least before we would be able to see anything. And he called 2 days later and says, I have it. And we're like, oh, okay. So it was delivered last Thursday. So we've had it for a week. I have the key, so no one, and I'm over there. So everybody knows it's your truck. It stays here. I'll drive it over when I go to safety and security so that they can see it. But other than that, it is not used by staff. You purchased it. It is Pelican's truck, and it is sitting here until we get everything sorted with Weiser and they take over and begin to drive it. So I just wanted to assure you that it is not being used by anybody here.
Need a
So-
motion
So this
from
is a
us?
done deal.
Yes.
You need a motion from us?
I had a question, though. It looked like the price that we were paying was MSRP. Is that correct? I thought there was some
It's-
special pricing.
It is MSRP less the discount. I actually attached it to the safety and security agenda. It came in just a little under 27,000, or right, a little over 27,000 all in. So that was with
Okay.
the registration and all that, because we don't have to pay tax and, all of that. So it's
Okay.
the
All right, I
MSRP
just
less government discount, yep, which was like
Okay.
$1,800 or something,
Do we
so.
need a motion on this?
No,
It's already there.
it's already sitting. So once it's formalized, I'll let you know. We're just giving you, I'm sorry.
Laura, is I see the 268.76 per month type thing. And then this 1371 per month for the way we do it now.
Well, we bought, the truck is purchased.
Right.
So-
But what I want to know is what is gas and maintenance and all those insurance, is that covered in the 1371?
Yes.
Because it's not covered in this,
Well,
correct?
that's part of the contract that we have with Weiser is they're responsible for the fuel costs for the vehicles. They can't bill us extra for gas. So that covers the lease
Okay.
that they have right now with the vehicle that you guys have.
Okay, they have to have the insurance, they cover
They-
the
yeah, but well,
insurance and maintenance.
That's where this lease, that's the purpose of the lease that we're having with Weiser is because we bought the vehicle, the district bought the vehicle, well, you guys bought the vehicle, but the
Right.
district bought the vehicle. The district is insuring the vehicle, so we're actually acting like enterprise. So
Okay.
Weiser still has to have their own auto insurance. They all have to prove that they have valid driver's licenses. It's basically like they're renting the car from us, but they're
Okay.
not paying us anything for it because you guys bought it. So they're still responsible for the gas and all of that.
All the
But
maintenance.
maintenance will be on us. It's our vehicle. So like when they take it in back to enterprise when it needs stuff, we will take care of that. So
The agenda item says that staff seeks authorization from PPAC prior to execution, so we probably do.
Yeah, we haven't got, I don't know if there's going to be any changes to it, so until it comes back from Mr. Weiser, as of right now, if you have any concerns with what's here, I guess I need to know that.
Just for the record, following up on last meeting, which it says something to Laura before the meeting, she was able to get the ability for PERT, the emergency response team, to have access to this vehicle in times of emergency if nobody from Wisner is at the gate.
We
So-
did change the volunteer agreement form to add some verbiage in there. Tony just added that they have to have a driver's license and provide a copy to us that you have a valid Florida driver's license if you're going to be driving
I appreciate her
it.
doing
But
that
there
with
is, yeah, they'll be able to use the vehicle.
Will this have any logos on it or the broccoli?
That's what it does have a little tiny broccoli on it, you'll see it, but I'm actually, that's why I'm taking it to safety and security is to get their input for whatever else they want to put on it. I mean, it's literally, the sticker's like this big, so.
Because I think their current vehicle has flashing lights too, or.
This one does not have any lights on it. It's a cute little truck. It actually drives pretty nice. I drove it from the shop or the other office over to here to park it. It drives a lot like a car, so it's a pretty it's a pretty zippy little truck. So yeah. But anyway, that's just to let you know that is where we're at with this. So I'm just waiting to get that back. They have had, I guess, apparently a lot of issues with that vehicle not performing very well, the one that's over there now. And so their lease with Enterprise is through the end of September. But even Enterprise acknowledged the fact that the vehicle has been difficult and not very trustworthy and dependable. So they're going to see if they can try to get out of their lease a little earlier without having the penalties for the early out clause. Since I did let them know we have the truck, I said, whenever you're ready for it, it's here. We just need to know when to deliver it. So we have to make sure we have all our paperwork in place. But that way, they're going to try to get out of their lease a little sooner, which will start saving you that $13.71 as soon as their lease is done and that vehicle is gone. So it'll be no later than the end of September when the lease is officially up with Enterprise. So it could be sooner. So.
Need a motion that we recommend to the Board of Supervisors that we accept this agreement with the Wiser car?
Yeah, you don't have any, yeah, yep,
So motion.
okay.
Second.
Yep.
Doug seconded. Marty made the motion. Doug seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Thank you.
Purchasing authority.
Okay, so this was a hot topic earlier. So this was brought about by, you guys had done stuff because
what
of
I
some things for
recommended last
Mark.
It was Mark.
Yeah, it came up because of landscaping. So there are some provisions in the purchasing authority for staff, like for Chelsea and myself, we're authorized to procure up to a specific threshold without having to go to the board for approval. So the intent of this is not to circumvent the subcommittees. I want to make that very clear. There are problems where, especially like with the landscape subcommittee, where they're not going to meet for 4 months, 5 months. I'm sure that you don't want your projects to pause over the summertime. This would not be something where they can run rampant and just go nuts and request and approve things that aren't in the budget. I still see all of the purchase orders. I issue every purchase order that goes out the door, comes across my desk. And if there's concerns or questions, or if there's things that would need to come before you guys for ratification, that would absolutely happen. So that the intent of this was just to be able to give them a little more flexibility should they have a delay in being in meeting between meetings because they can't get a quorum or they can't meet to make a decision or a recommendation.
Real quick,
So
how often do you see this happening in a given year?
honestly, the thing with Mark that you guys did last month, that's the first time that I've seen it happen. So, but I think they've tried to work around it because they knew that they didn't have the ability to do it in the past. So if I can just explain a little bit about how it works, like for us, for staff, the board approves the budget. There's a line item for a specific purpose that has a specific dollar amount on it. As long as we don't exceed that dollar amount when we're making our purchases, we don't have to ask the board for permission because they've already approved those funds for that purpose. So this is kind of a trickle down of that effect down to the subcommittees, because you as PPAC have your general budget. You've also approved each of the subcommittees specific line items with specific dollar amounts that they're allowed to spend up to without having to come back to you and say, hey, we want to buy this. So this would just give them, like, if something were to come up in between meetings, or if they couldn't get a quorum, if there was something that they would want to do, I will tell you, my first question back to a chair, whenever I get a large PO, and I know it wasn't discussed during a meeting, is where did this come from? Who approved it? Where are you going to fund it? And when is it going to go back to the subcommittee? Because I think there was some concern that people are just going to just start spending. That won't happen. I will personally guarantee you that that will not happen. So, because they know that they can't buy anything without a PO, and I have questions, especially for larger POs. And the reason that $8,000 one came to you guys is because I stopped it, because I said, this did not go in front of the landscape committee. Did you guys talk about this? And it was like, no, it needs to get done because Mark is going to be gone, and he wanted to oversee the project before he left. And I said, fine, take it to PPAC, because I wanted somebody to approve it. That wasn't me.
The big issue here
So-
is, the problem is that the landscape subcommittee is not going to meet from now until November.
October or November, yeah.
October, November.
Right.
That's the big issue, because nobody's going to be here.
This shouldn't be done on that. You shouldn't have a policy based on the fact that they're not going to meet for a couple of months. My question, kind of going back to our public comments, would it be beneficial to put a limit on the number of times they could do this?
It's completely up to you. I can reword it. I mean,
I'm
is it-
looking at that. Doug's had more experience with this than I have, and it said, Jim, that was the first time we really needed to do this. I understand why, but always got to be concerns of misuse. We have great people, but you always have to have concerns of misuse.
We, in the ponds group, we've never needed that type of,
You guys, you have a way of meeting and having a quorum. You always do. So,
But you also spend a lot more money.
but we don't want to, on one hand, you don't want to stop the ability to make something happen. That's why, I'm looking at going, you had 3 times a year. You can't exceed this being done more than 3 times in a year. At least it puts some
You put a
form
limit
of.
on it, that'd be fine.
see, at times, I think that Mark, maybe what he could do is have a miscellaneous plant. You know what I mean, a 10K.
He does.
And use that, because that miscellaneous thing could come to us way in advance, and it's just sitting there with a PO, ready to be able to do stuff he
But
needs to
You've
do.
already done that by approving that line on his budget.
Right.
So
So was
you've-
it-
It's
was
got to
this
be a
not
line
one of
item
them?
on the budget.
Yeah,
It
this is on
was,
the
the
budget.
reason that it came to you guys is because it was something that came up in between the 2 meetings, and it needed to get executed before their next meeting at the end of May, so that the project could be completed before the end of May. So it couldn't wait until they had their next meeting, and that was why. That was why it came to you guys, because it was not something that the subcommittee had talked about. It falls fully within a line item on their budget, and it's like, in general, they had talked about doing the landscape replacement, but this particular one, especially with it being so large, I mean, normally when Mark sends stuff, it's like $1,500, $1,000, they're smaller.
This is Patricia. It's not really a question of misuse of funds, because it would be goods and services that are already in the scope of the approved budget. But it does sound like somebody could willy-nilly go ahead and make decisions about what to purchase without the vote of the committee. And that's where, one person kind of has more authority than the committee. So that's what we're giving them.
One of the things, I guess the way I read this, that like Peggy would have that ability, well, the chair of the committee, that's Pete, she would have that, and Mark would have that. What if you were to require the second approval, or like the chair of the subcommittee?
Can't
that
talk
the-
outside of meetings, so that wouldn't work.
No, the PPAC, that the chair of PPAC concur.
Oh, yeah.
That way you've got, the subcommittee chair would approve it, but then you'd also have the PPAC
We could approve it.
concur with it. outside of meetings. That way you've got, at least got two
Already approved
people.
the
But then what do
line
you
item
do
on the
if
budget.
Peggy's the one that's requesting it?
We don't have, I mean.
I mean,
we
I'm
don't-
just,
we don't
we gotta
have-
put it
we
out there
really
just in
don't
case.
have
No,
any
you
specific
don't.
line items
We don't write
here.
the-
You don't have a budget.
Well, there's a couple line items, but we really don't. So
Yeah,
that wouldn't be.
I'm just making
I'm not
sure.
talking for us. We're not talking just for our committee. You're talking about subcommittees.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
subcommittees.
So you're
with
saying that
controls
the
of the-
chair would have the authority to do it with the approval of the PPAC chair?
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
It's, that, the verbiage is completely up for discussion. I just,
And I'd still like to put a limit.
it doesn't, if you want to go less than 10, you can go less than 10.
No, I
This is
meant
just what was
not-
requested.
not
Number of
times.
times,
No chair, no subcommittee chair can do this more than 3 times in
a fiscal
a
year.
fiscal year with the approval of the chair. I think that's a great balance.
Since it's only been done once so far, I think that'd be not limiting very much. I mean, I think it'd be okay to do what you just said.
From what Mark talked about the last time, it sounded like there was more of a common procedure that he do that, but then there was some change to try to do this.
Yeah, this is the largest one that's happened on. Most of the time, it's just a couple $100. He'll be like, this needs to get done. And he's like, well, they already approved me to plant the stuff down the boulevard. Why can't I just do this? I'm like, but you didn't talk about this specifically in the committee meeting, so.
I want to make it so that we tie the chair's hands, that they can't get their job. On the other hand, you do have to manage your fiscal control.
But then the public works director also has like $1,000.
And I have 30,000, so, yeah.
Well, the public work director is different depending upon the subcommittee,
Yeah, his is different.
because I gave them more than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Or it goes, I did it, the group did.
right, Hans voted that. So if I'm reading, so just let me recap. So far, we're saying to add in 2 things. The first being that it can't be requested, it can't be done more than 3 times per fiscal year per committee, per subcommittee, because if they change chairs, I just want to make sure we have it like per
You have to
subcommittee.
vote on these
And then the
amendments.
second thing, well, we're not done yet, we're still talking. So, and then the second thing that you requested would be that it would have to be approved by the PPAC chair.
Recognize Bob.
Bob Geppert. Prior to Doug's ascension to the chairman of the Ponds Group, and prior to the Ponds becoming an official subcommittee,
Ancient history.
back when it was a work group, this kind of stuff went through routinely, as long as it was in the budget and it had been planned for. And we had a lot of latitude from staff. It has tightened up quite a bit recently, and that's good. I'm not saying it's bad. And I like Tom's thing, no more than 3 times a year. And with the concurrence of the chair, that covers everybody.
I think before they became official subcommittees, we treated it more like how staff does purchases. Because
we-
they have a
we
line
had a
item in
lot
the
of
budget and they
latitude.
were able to just go do their own thing.
We had a
so.
lot of latitude, so it hadn't been abused in the past.
Okay.
And I want to make it very clear that this is not being recommended because there's been abuse on it. There clearly, we don't have issues. I mean, everybody is very good about asking, so. I've very rarely had to say no or who approved this, so.
Marty, did you want to talk on the amendments or the motion as a whole now?
I think the motion as presented by staff here is adequate for the controls to allow the chairmen of the subcommittees to do their jobs. And we're just handcuffing them to get another authority to jump through another hoop that I don't think is really necessary. It's already a line item in their budget. We've approved their budget. Let them do their job.
If Mark was here, I don't think he would having to have the PPAC chair to approve it. Just not in a meeting, but just be able to approve it with handcuff. That's my thought. And I don't think he'd have a problem with your three times. Because it'd give him more than he has today.
What if it's just $400? So you have to go through the same process?
That would be something that,
Somewhere?
I think the intent of this is for things that were not discussed during subcommittees, that the subcommittee hasn't had a chance to discuss and formally give them approval to
Yeah,
do.
then they could-
So yes, it would be, it's up to $10,000. There's no minimum. So this would be for things that come up outside of a meeting that they're trying to get done before it can go to the subcommittee to
For the
be
most part, that's rare.
voted on.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's very rare.
It is. I think it happens most on landscape.
We're talking about an email, right? That's what we're talking about.
That's fine.
pops up that the chairman needs to go spend 5,000 immediately, or $400, whatever.
There is, well, there is a provision in your current agreement for emergencies, and it spells out what the emergencies are. This is not emergency stuff. So there's already, when the subcommittees and PPAC were formally established, there is emergency spending in
Part of my thinking is
there.
respect to the public comments. That the appearance of fiscal control is there, rather than, oh, let the guy go do whatever he needs to do. That's part of it. Hey, if it doesn't work, you can always come back and change it.
This is Patricia. I think asking the chair of PPAC to have a conversation and just assure that this is something that can't go before the subcommittee. Typically, it needs to be done in an immediate fashion is a good idea. And I don't think anybody would complain about that. And that is our fiscal oversight.
How about the 3 years? So there's, if I can.
And 3 times a year, sure.
There's two amendments that I think maybe we'd vote on separately.
I prefer if you do the verbiage all as one, so it's just one.
So, but we put it all together as one vote. Marty's going to vote against it.
That's okay.
Just
He's
to
gotta
trying to
vote.
work, but I'd rather him see that the
Yes,
amendments pass. He'll still vote against it. What the hell?
Yeah. It don't matter. We don't have to be unanimous.
It just needs to be majority.
All right. I want Marty to have his record intact.
Does someone want to make a motion? You come up with the 3.
I'll make the motion that, Laura could go back and reword it, that the motion as listed here with the amendments that subject to the approval of the PAC chairman person, and that it can't be done within more than 3 times a year,
Per fiscal year.
per fiscal year.
I'll
Second the
that.
motion.
Yeah, I'll second, or you second, I don't care. Okay,
It's been moved and seconded. Tom stated, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Hey,
Hey,
Marty voted no.
no, so
Marty,
did John.
Marty,
4-1.
and John, okay.
No, John.
Fine. Okay, so I can procedurally, the thing, there'll just be one small change then. It would be, we're working on updating our forms anyway, so when the request comes in for the purchase order, if it's something that was not approved at a subcommittee meeting, we will just route it to Peggy then for her approval. And then when she approves or not, then it comes back and then we'll just proceed with. So we'll just have a detour, basically. Make sure that it hasn't been more than the 3 times in a year and then that it gets approved by Peggy. So
We had a detour there anyway for you.
Peggy, are you okay with this additional
I'll go across
burden?
my desk, so yeah.
I'm
It's still good.
fine if it helps move things along and gives us fiscal control.
I guess this will give us some visibility into how often it's going to happen too, so.
True.
And we can always bring it back up and tweak it and change it. I mean, it's completely up to you, but I will get that wording inserted in and get that updated. So we'll have that be effective. I think I have to take it to I don't know if I take it to the board or not, so.
Some of us just doing a little bit better project planning in advance so that you.
Yep. Okay, thank you. This is tiny. What is this one?
Next item.
Oh, district pond standards.
Yeah.
We voted on this once before. Before Stephanie left, there was some changes that was done, some minor changes. The ponds group was involved with that the entire time. Mike Causey was a member of the group that worked on it. And the ponds group approved this at their last meeting, the current standards that are here.
We need to make a motion to accept
We
it.
should have a motion to approve it.
Okay.
Well, are we going to have discussion on this first? Because I've got a lot of questions.
Motion to approve.
Make a motion and then discussion after a motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Who made the motion?
Tricia
Patricia?
made the motion and Tom seconded it. Discussion?
So why don't we have in the glossary of terms what the LME is? Because there's always questions about what the LME is and what the requirements are. And in the glossary of terms, there is nothing, which is
You're
a big
asking for-
issue for the ponds.
You're asking for a definition of what an LME is?
Correct.
Okay,
Or how
I just want to
defined
make
it,
sure I'm
or how it's
understanding.
defined.
Okay,
Bigger question is how do you determine it?
Well,
Probably.
it's a map.
And they're all different too, so it's
Right.
not like you can say it's always
Is
this.
it the county or, I think it's the county, isn't it, that has that?
Some of them are
Lee
ours.
County, yeah,
They're on
it's
the-
in there with the,
But
but
they're-
it's not by measurement. It's just a little line on the graph.
But they're on the individual plats too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, it comes up all the time in the Architectural Control Committee meetings, and there's no definition anywhere.
Okay.
Okay, so define what an LME is.
Correct. Also, the inspections, once per month, it's all done by staff. What does the pond subcommittee do?
Inspection of what, the ponds?
Yeah,
I mean,
So
that's all we
regular-
do. I mean, the one guy, Doug Ball, that now is a member of the group, that, the way Jim does it, he
according
has
to this
people
doc-
that are assigned to maybe 3 or 4 ponds. And the ponds group itself within Pelican Preserve does the inspection of all the ponds. I don't think
So the-
Stephanie came on to
according
do
to
that.
the document that's attached, staff does all the inspections. That's what it says.
GSEDD conducts routine inspections.
Right. So staff does that.
I should say staff and.
If
Well,
I-
it doesn't.
If I may, this is Bob.
Well, it doesn't.
The changes in this document are primarily focused on Gateway. They're coming up to where we have always been. And you're right, Marty. Elle did not come to our ponds and inspect them. The ponds group did. Maybe some of these things were kind of implied, but she did check every pond over here. So, and most of the other detail in here that changes has to do with things that we have already done and have done forever, but they don't do over here.
But they don't reflect this in,
I
And
take
this is
comment
going
with what
out-
you're saying.
this is going out for all of Gateway. We are part of Gateway.
I agree with
The
you.
ponds are part of Gateway.
No.
And everything that was done by our subcommittees is not reflected in this document. So I would like
We
to
just missed
recommend that
Laura
it goes back to the
When we were
subcommittee.
doing it. Should be updated for that.
Second.
Table until,
we-
would it be referred back to the sub?
So we have to vote against the first
Right.
motion.
And then we-
So Ponds recommended approving it and you're not, you're saying no.
I said, go look at it again.
So
Make a
the,
couple of
You
changes.
don't have to vote the one down, Patricia. You don't have to
We have a
vote
new
down.
pond, we have a new
Table.
stormwater person starting next week.
It's still an active motion.
we have a motion and a second on the table to approve the standard. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
Okay.
Okay, do we have another motion? Well, do we have to table?
I'll make
it
a
or
motion
send it
to
back?
send this back to the pond subcommittee to have a workshop.
On subcommittee didn't write the document, Marty.
I think it would be, I can make a request that we have a workshop at the board level. It was a gateway. It was a combination. They took the pond standards that you guys were using in Pelican and the pond standards that we had here and did our best to merge them because yours were much nicer than ours. So you have higher standards than we do. So we did our best to merge them together to make sure that we are consistent across all of Gateway.
Something maybe as simple as just in the definitions to say staff
Slash
is
subcommittee.
staff
Yeah,
or
and
on subcommittee
Inside
representative.
Pelican.
Because
Yeah.
you don't
Something
have
like
it
it.
on the other side.
Right.
There might be something that you
Identify
could just
what
do in
element
the
is.
definitions to clarify that.
So, this is a 35-page document that I went through. And, I can't find anything that the pond subcommittee does.
I think it's because it's about the maintenance of the ponds themselves and not like it's the pond subcommittee to responsibility to do this or it's staff's responsibility to do that. It's like it's laying out, if you have a pond, this is how they're taken care of. This is the expectations of the littorals. This is the it's a general, not a specific, like this is assigned to this person kind of thing. That's my understanding. So
Not ready for prime time.
you're recommending to not move it forward to the board. Got it. All right.
I think the way the ponds group looked at this document, was there anything in here that prohibited us from maintaining the ponds and working as a subgroup
The way
the
that you
way
have
we
been.
do today?
Correct.
That was what the focus when the.
Nothing was degraded.
Right. Nothing changed, nothing, that we still could live with this document and still operate the same way we do today. That's the way they looked at it.
Yeah, but I think if nothing else, Marty's point about that it says staff will inspect overrides what you're doing today.
Correct.
So on
They
that,
so
don't
just
do
some
that on
if
on
nothing
something.
else, that
Marty.
needed to be added
Okay.
in there.
I don't have a problem.
Marty, was that just your 2 points of heartburn there, was the LME and the staff, or was there more? Just because I don't want to do the two things and then have it come back and you're like, then I have three more, so if you want to just, we can talk about it off, if
Well,
you guys want to
it's-
talk about it.
Planting all the requirements is all GSCD staff. Water quality, it's all GSCD staff. There's also fishing requirements. There's nothing in there about getting a Florida state license.
Why don't you send me your list? I think that'll be easier,
Yep.
and then we'll look at it and see what we can do. Thank you.
Most of that could just be changed.
That was the easy one.
Maybe it just simply, wherever staff is referenced, will
Also add in
mean the Pelican
subcommittees,
Preserve.
yeah, the Pelican Preserves Pond Subcommittee. That's why if you send me your list, it'll be easier to look at it. All right. What am I on now? Page. We got 15 minutes. This-
Who's presenting this?
I guess I can give an overview of it. I mean, I tried
staff-
to kind of do that in the background. There were initially 17 staff gauges. 5 of them are solely within Pelican. Some of them are on a shared area. And you guys have a line in your budget for the shared flowway maintenance, which is where those staff gauges would be procured from, using that, your portion of that. So Gateway will pay for part of the shared area, you pay for part of the shared area, we pay for everything, the general fund for the Gateway only side, and then the staff gauges that are in Pelican proper would be paid for by Pelican. So the board voted to approve the first 12 on the list, which did not include the remaining 5 that were in Pelican Preserve. And at the last meeting, I was asked to bring this back to you guys to get approval to pay for those other 5 within Pelican Preserve. There's been some discussion, debate about what do they actually provide? What do we get? What, if we're going to spend the money on them, what are we going to get out of them? And so I am just here to
I have a
have you
different
guys.
recollection of this.
Okay.
Okay, I seem to remember that this has come to us before, and it's been approved to have 3. And now it's gone from 3 gauges to 5. So
Well, the
how
3
did
were
we get
included
from-
in the original
How did
12.
we get from 3 to 5?
The 3 were included in the original 12. That's what came to you the first time. So now it's coming back to you for the other 5 that are solely Pelican. The 3 were part of the shared flowway.
Can I ask a question? What does a staff gauge
Function
do?
do?
Yeah, what's it do?
I'm going to give a simplified version, taking a yardstick and sticking it in the ground, in the pond at a particular level. It's at a control level, and it's a manual thing that someone on staff or within the Pelican Preserve group goes and looks at what is the water level. It's not there's no electronics, it's just a
Sending a
stick.
signal somewhere and
Right,
indicating.
as an
it's just a
example,
stick.
when we had the problems with hurricanes, we went out with a ruler and measured how much water was going over the weir. It was a manual thing. And that's how we knew how much water, what water level it was. And we measured it daily as it went up and down. This is just a little more formal, but it's not much different than a ruler in the water and measuring what level the water's at. And it's $17,000 for the
5,
5.
yeah.
I mean, you can tell already where I am on this topic.
So what kind of ruler is that, Mark? What kind of ruler is this?
Well,
for?
they have to cement it into the pond bank, onto the bottom of the lake, and they have to make sure it's at the right level with the control level for that pond. But at the end of the day, when the water's low, whether it says it's at 5 or 4, it's low.
It's just like a lot of the bridges, you see the thing where so many feet above
right.
flood
Right.
line.
That's-
Right, we just think
That's what it is.
5 sticks in the mud.
Right.
And it does provide data for us when, in the event that we need to open some of the weirs, or if South Florida is looking for input, as like for because we're, all part of a big flow, they use that data to help make decisions of when we can open the weirs, how far we can open the weirs, how long we can open the weirs, and all of that too. So I'm completely neutral on this. I'm just being informational.
Laura,
so.
we've been told that the only weir they carry about is the one that dumps into 6 Mile Cypress, whatever.
Oh, they care about
these
all the
other
weirs because
ones,
it all
they-
pushes it that
they
way.
don't
So
have
if
to
we,
get approval for.
I want to
So
make
help
a
me.
recommendation because we don't have much time. I recommend we do not approve this, make a motion not to approve this, even though I'll even say this, even though the ponds group, at the meeting I was at, did approve it.
3-2.
3-2.
Yeah.
They were pretty
But-
split
but-
on that.
But I recommend, make a motion that we do not approve these 5 staff gauges.
I'll second that.
Okay,
Moved
there's
and
2
seconded.
seconds.
Any further discussion?
I still don't understand how we got from 3 to 5.
Wouldn't
worry about it.
If
We're
you're
not
voting
gonna do
against it.
any.
You're voting against it, it doesn't make any difference. So,
All right,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay.
so
I don't know what they're going
big
to do with the
no.
5 staff gauges. but-
They haven't ordered them yet.
all right.
I can sell them.
And let's see, nothing's really changed on the budget since you saw it last. So this should be a pretty simple conversation.
The only, Laura, pull up the version 1 tables. I just,
I see that.
Oh, I need to make this very clear, the version 1, did I give the O&M assessment table in here, I think? Is
There
it-
is
on
an
the- that's the
assessment,
other-
single
that's the other-
homes and all that stuff.
Okay, so I need to put a whole bunch of like asterisks on that table. There is 0 revenue included in it. That is strictly expenses. So that amount is not accurate. I mean, well, it is, the cost is accurate. This would be like if you don't use any reserves, if I don't apply any interest, none of that. So
the same as the high water mark budget last year. There's no revenue.
no, the high water mark has revenue in it. This is I didn't get the revenue. I'm meeting with Steven
don't have
tomorrow. We will, if I don't have any interest revenue included in here, which will help
Okay.
offset the expenses. So I don't have anything plugged
Okay,
in.
last year, the high water mark budget had $10,000 of interest in it. It wasn't until we got to the October or whenever it was later budget that you added the 100,000
Right.
in it to keep things down. All I'm saying is,
For you guys, it doesn't
real-
look bad at all.
I was looking at this because I was totally shocked at the percentages that,
The commercial's wrong. There was an error in the formula, so.
okay, and
The dollars are correct, the percentage calculation is wrong. You have to take this 369 versus the 463. And again, there's no debt service in here either, so that will affect it.
I talk.
Yeah.
Over Laura?
I'm being clear because this is not a final amount. I don't want to make
I
that,
know,
so.
but last year, take the Pelican Golf Course, they had a huge reduction in assessments. And now they're getting a substantial increase. And the commercial's getting a substantial decrease, but C5's getting it. I mean, it really looked bizarre to me. And as I started digging into it, because all of our budgets are basically flat except for ponds, and it's the 600,000 or whatever for this in there.
Yes.
Pond is, and because the allocation of that is different based on permeable surface and water runoff and all that, but it really kind of screws things up. But depending on how we treat that 600,000, and if we reduce it and borrow and leverage, it will adjust some of that. But when I saw this, it was just like, what is going on? But it took me a while to dig into it to try to understand it. If there's some miscalculations in it, that even confuses it even more, but
It was just, the only thing that's wrong with the calculation was this here. It was subtracting the wrong number. It took this 43,000 from here instead of this number from here. So the totals are correct. This is correct. And it's just the net change for the commercial was calculating correctly. It was pulling in the wrong
It's the
cell.
treatment of the big pond is what's.
But I just didn't want anybody to have, it's not such a big impact for you guys, but more on the gateway side, because again, there's no debt service in here. I haven't applied any revenue, nothing. So it's going to change before it goes and gets approved. I just wanted to make that clear.
Because you're saying don't.
This
get
was a
excited.
snapshot in time as of probably a week before the board meeting. So it's already changed since then. I'm meeting with Stephen Bloom tomorrow to go over the debt service payments, so the principal interest on stuff, which for you guys is pretty small. Your bonds aren't very big. And then the interest and any other things that we can look at to plug in. So as of right now, I have no direction from PPAC to offset any of your expenses with any type of reserves or anything. So you are truly having a high watermark budget.
And that's what we
So,
did last year.
Yep. So just,
Yep.
yep.
We didn't include,
So I'm staying with that. So I said the only thing that'll bring this down a little bit is the application of the interest that we're expecting, which is, it's not going to have a huge
hopefully we don't do
impact.
that for the high water mark.
The interest will, yeah, but not the other stuff, none of the reserve use or anything like, I need to be realistic for the interest,
We
but
didn't do that last year.
it's what we had for last year. I'm using the same number from the 26 budget. And I did do that last year. It just, it wasn't a realistic number last year, so. But I'm not using any offsets from reserves or any alternate funding, so that will keep your costs up. And then you can discuss what you want to do to help
We haven't
offset.
had any
later.
discussions of interest to level we should actually put in here, so. We didn't have any input in that last year either. You guys just threw 100,000 in.
That's because that's where you guys have been. So we tried to make the budget realistic, or it hadn't been. It had been understated previously. So
This is Patricia. Is there a place in where we can see the exact numbers that each of the subcommittees came in with?
yeah, that's
Where are
this,
those?
this here,
They're
all
in
of
the
this.
co- they're
This
in the
the
document.
Okay,
budget
so-
proper is
You've just copied and pasted them into this document,
Yes.
correct?
yes.
Okay, just
So
want
all
to
of
make
this,
sure.
all of this is from the subcommittees. So all of this budget, the only thing that's not 100% accurate at this moment because of the changes that have been made is that chart that says it's this much for per household or this much for commercial. The budget itself is exactly what I got from the subcommittees. You guys have looked at and agreed to it previously, so.
Clarify that. The operating, anything above the operating expenses.
Yeah, the admin you don't. So operating expenses and down is
The PPAC or the subcommittee.
correct.
And the parks.
And then the Parks and Rec stuff, which is new in here this year.
Have to.
Yes.
And pool, and the pool.
You were paying that last year, but it was happening behind the scenes. So this is actually reflecting, this is showing right up, being very transparent. Here's what you guys are contributing, which is 7.2% of the overall Parks and Rec budget.
Anybody else join the pool other than Marty?
I don't know. I don't even have access to that, so.
Have you used it, Marty?
Bob? Well, you
I've
get your
been there
membership
once.
as a board
So-
member, so.
So
I don't even know where to
Going-
go and get a card.
Going to
Come to our
the
office, or the pool,
Where's your office?
over behind Danny
The
Grimes.
the new building?
No, we're not in there yet.
pool, going to the
It's a
pool,
way to want to get it from
August.
there.
going to the pool is dangerous.
All right,
Parking
so,
lot is atrocious. We're lucky we haven't been sued.
it'll be much better once the new building's things, we have way more parking coming on, so. I have a staff update, and you guys we have a few things we need to cover on the agenda yet, so.
Minutes, Laura.
I know, I'm the one who has to kick you out, so. We already talked about the tree trimming, that was one thing I had on here. It was brought to my attention, we're still having some issues with breaches in that black wrought iron fence near the emergency access road. We've been trying to work with KW. It's not it's PCA's or Prado's fence. It's not a district asset. So the parts that are bad are not ours.
They
So
are on communities, but they were added they were added and connected to the boundary fence when the emergency fence was put in. That's all part of the emergency fence, but it's not part of the community association fence. Part of it may sit on community association property.
but there is part of it that was in a fence that was there that doesn't connect to the emergency access road that, it's where that big open field is. If you're looking at the emergency access road and you look to the left where the big purple pipes are sticking out of the ground, the gate is the only thing standing. Those fences are completely knocked down. Not ours, that was there before that road even went up.
That's a different one than
So,
what Paul showed me.
Yeah, that's two, we have two issues. The one
Okay.
is where Paul had, and then the other one is that gate. And we've been telling them for years that there's a problem there. So Mark told me that the other one that doesn't touch the emergency fence, the gate is standing and that's it. He said the fence is completely flat on both sides. So, and we have not had, we're trying to work with KW, letting them know, hey, this is here, and they keep saying that they're gonna have someone to come and fix it. So I'm just letting you know that we're not ignoring it, but we've asked for it to be repaired and, it didn't happen. So, we're trying. I just want to make you aware that we're not ignoring it.
Well, Laura, our new board, PPAC member is actually a member of the board now too, so we.
And I heard
we have a
Annabelle is
little-
leaving,
Little more
so-
direct,
Yeah, she's leaving too, so just let you know we're having, well, we're trying, we're communicating and it's not getting done, but it's not.
Talking too much.
So. Do you have member items? I don't know, there's nothing on here. I didn't know if anybody had anything. Is there anybody who's not gonna be here in June?
I'm not going to be here July 9th.
You will not be here in June, or you will not be here in July?
Not be here July 9th.
Okay, no Marty July. Anybody else not gonna be here in June?
Double check.
I'll be remotely,
Remote?
remote.
That's not good for Paul.
I'll be here in June.
I'll be here.
I
There.
have cardiac
You'll be in
issues to
person?
take care of.
June the
Peggy?
11th, I'm here.
Yeah, I'll be in person.
Okay, so just John won't be here.
July 9th, I'm here.
I'll worry about July next month. I just
We
need to
will
know
have
for
a quorum
June.
then for June, a quorum.
Yeah, the only one who won't be here in person is you, right? Yeah, Peggy will be here, so you'll have 6.
I look
so
ahead.
This is fine.
have a motion to adjourn?
Motion
Can I
to
ask-
adjourn.
What?
Marty has something you want to say.
People got questions.
Motion to adjourn.
No. I got a real quick question. Do I need to get, whose permission do I need, if anybody's, to be able to put a 250th anniversary flag out front? Do I need anybody's, if I buy the flag?
Huh?
Yeah, I'm from Pelican. On the gatehouse.
Depends where you put it.
Well, according to protocol, it should go under the MIA flag, POW MIA flag.
That should be fine.
So I don't know if the poll can.
Oh,
I'll deal with
somebody
it.
will complain.
I don't need, that's fine.
All right. So we had a motion. Did we have a second? I didn't hear it.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
We're adjourned. Thank you, Peggy.
You can't stay here. You'll get locked in.
You got 2 minutes before she locks the door.
Hang on. Everything's being recorded right now. I leave at 4 o'clock. It's double time now. I do too. I got places to go and things to do and people to see. I got stuff to do. Hang on. I got things for you to sign.